fled Afghanistan with her family as a 5-year-old and has returned 2 decades later as a superstar. But not everyone is a fan of the woman dubbed the Afghan Oprah. Becky gets us connected.
A singing sensation and a model, Muzda Jamalzada is no stranger to an audience. She's even sung for American President Barack Obama at the White House. But it's with her latest performance that this young star is hoping to leave her loudest echo.
When I was growing up, my parents were like, don't ever forget where you're from and don't ever forget your people because you're one of the lucky ones.
After growing up as a refugee in Canada, where she launched her music career, Muzda has returned to Afghanistan to host her very own television talk show. And it's proving controversial. Using an American-style format, Muzda tackles sensitive cultural issues that generally aren't talked about openly in her conservative Islamic homeland. Divorce, domestic violence, and disrespect for women among the topics sparking backlash from traditionalists who oppose her liberal views and Western-inspired clothing. Your connector of the day, Muzda Jamalzada, dubbed the Afghan Oprah. Let's find out what she thinks of that title.
I would never compare myself to Oprah. I've mentioned this before. I don't know why people compare me to her. She's my idol. I've looked up to her. I've watched her show since I was 16. I never missed an episode. And I've learned so much from her, just like everybody else has.
Listen, you grew up in Canada and went back to Afghanistan. Why was that?
I always knew in my heart that I would end up back in Afghanistan because growing up, I never forgot Afghans. I never forgot Afghanistan, and I always wanted to do something for Afghan people.
You're in the media now. How do you feel that you are helping the people of Afghanistan at this point?
Most important thing right now is the Muzda show. It's aired twice a week, and we actually discuss very, very serious topics, very sensitive issues that are not even discussed within households. And we bring up these sensitive subjects, and we try to find, a solution for these problems.
Do you feel censored in the material that you want to provide?
I feel very restricted in a lot of things. I wanted to discuss one of the episodes. We wanted to discuss divorce, and we had a hard time with that. But with the TV station that I work with, they're very open to a lot of new things, and they're willing to, take the risk and allow me to speak about those things.
PJ Vandervolt asks, what did it feel like transitioning from a free society like that, which you grew up in Canada, to the strict confines of Afghanistan?
It's one of the most difficult challenges I've ever had to face. I'm pretty much under house arrest, and willingly under house arrest because it's the safest thing for me. The most I do is go to meetings, and I try to avoid going out. I never go out to parties. I never go out to see family. I just don't want to take the risk because I'm there to help people, and I don't want me doing something, going out too much and risking my life, and then I wouldn't be able to help anybody.
MS says he's inspired by your courage and asks what it's like living under a constant threat.
I have to be honest, it's very scary. I'm actually scared 24/7. It's not something that you can become comfortable with ever. You know that you're a target. You know that there are many threats, and you know that living in Afghanistan, there's no rules, there's no laws. If there are laws, women are not. They kind of. There's not enough justice mechanisms.
Let's talk about the show for a moment. Natalie from North Carolina says, what specific goals do you hope to reach with the popularity of your show? And it is extremely popular.
I'm hoping to reach households, but mainly the men in the households. And I know that I've mentioned, women's rights and children's rights, and focusing on women and children. But I think the main, the people I have to really reach are the men, because unless I reach the men, the women can only fight so much. It's the men who need to change the way they think.
We've had some fascinating questions from viewers tonight. Modwasim brings up a particularly interesting point. He says that you don't wear the traditional Afghan female dress. Do you think this impacts your influence there, he asks?
Yes, definitely. Actually, now that I live in Kabul, I've noticed that hardly anybody wears the Afghan traditional dress. They do try to be as Western as possible in Kabul itself. I'm not aware of what's going on outside. I've been to Mazar. I've heard of the situation in Herat, and they do try to dress modern. So the way that I dress isn't too out of the ordinary over there. But I do try to make it a little bit more risky. I guess you can say I try to wear the higher heels and the belts around my dress and kind of bring out the shape of the body a little bit more than other people. So I do push the limit a little bit, and I definitely think that's influential, yes.